At $200, a Super Nintendo setup costs twice as much as the old system. For the money, the company promises better pictures, sound, and adventure. Now you're playing with power, superpower. You're the king, I tell you! The king!
Only for Super NES.
Only on Super NES.
You're listening to the SNES Podcast with your host, Soulblazer.
Hello.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, always good to have you. This game had some, and X1 had major slowdown on the Wii U as far as like the virtual console goes. So yeah, I on mobile, I can imagine this being a disaster.
This game starts 6 months after the first one. The Sigma's been defeated, but the war against the Mavericks is still going on. X and the Maverick Hunters chase the Mavericks to a factory which serves as the game's opening stage, in which the most tragic event of all happens. The green biker dude gets shot down, and most tear-jerking moment in the series. You go through the factory and trash the robots there, and then you start playing the 8 Maverick levels as you do in the first game, but we're soon introduced to the X Hunters, a group of 3 Mavericks who are kind of like loyalists of Sigma, who decide like, hey, he's a threat to us. Let's hunt him down and get rid of him now. And after the second stage you complete, they actually contact Dr. Kane directly and taunt him, saying, we have Zero's parts, because as you recall in the first game, Zero blew himself up to save us from Vile. So now Zero's 3 parts have been taken by these X-Hunters, and what will happen is, from that point onward, the 3 X-Hunters will appear randomly in 3 different stages that you have not completed yet. Each stage has a specific room that the X-Hunters will appear in if they are in that stage. If they're not in a stage, then that room can't even be entered. And so you can choose whether or not you want to fight them. You defeat them and you get Zero's parts. If you collect all 3 parts, it changes the outcome of the end game. Gameplay-wise, it's very similar to the first one. If you play the first one, you should have very little trouble picking up the second. The main differences are like the fact that you start off with the dash. You don't have to collect it like you did in the first game. And the parts upgrades all do different things compared to the first one. Like the Buster upgrade can now fire 2 charge shots. The leg upgrade can do an air dash. The body upgrade, in addition to reducing damage, also every time you get hit, it builds up a meter, and when the meter is full, you can use an attack that like hits the whole screen. And then the head upgrade is the most changed one from X1. Instead of allowing you to destroy blocks, it actually helps you find secrets, which if you're playing the game blind is pretty dang useful. And I think that's about it for like a story and gameplay synopsis.
Yeah, so I was telling Doom off mic, I thought it was kind of cool that, it's been about 4 months since we recorded X1, and this story picks up 6 months after. We should have probably postponed the podcast, in all fairness. But that being said, I didn't have an issue picking this up. I love the fact that you start off with the dash ability. I felt like, okay, so, because my notes are all over the place. First off, so Mega Man 2 is generally seen as like the masterpiece of the Nintendo franchise, or games. X2 kind of gave me that vibe from the beginning. You get that title screen, you get the first hint of the wire effects with the X, which was pretty cool. And I really like the fact that they actually give you the story here this time around with the cutscenes. I thought that was really good. Whereas, the last game, pretty much like you had very little exposition, and it was, pretty much in the manual was where the story was. That being said, this game, I feel, was more built on the fact that you start off with that dash than X1 was, because I think we talked about it with X1, about how I felt like some of those levels were clearly built for when you have the dash ability. This entire game was built with you having that dash ability, which isn't a bad thing. I actually really like it. It makes the levels feel bigger than they actually are. There's a lot where you have to jump and then dash, so that takes some getting used to, but you get used to it. I felt like the upgrades here is kind of where this game kind of lacked a little bit. And I only say that because I feel like once you get that Buster upgrade, that's really all you need. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have the helmet upgrade and be able to find the secrets and all that, but, and obviously being able to build up your health a little bit as well. But I feel like it's that Buster upgrade that really changes the game. On top of, finding the, the 4 armor expansions, which give you the Hadouken once again, which is fantastic. And that's another thing. Returning hidden elements are always great because that means replayability. So, we got 8 heart containers that we got to find, 4 sub-tanks, and then, of course, those 4 armor expansions. One of the things that it's really nitpicky. It's not really a big dig on the game, but it is a bit nitpicky. So getting beating the Mavericks and beating the game, that it's all good. But it's the Hunter Mavericks. Those 3 guys. If you encounter them and die and you do not defeat them, that's it. You got that one shot. They don't reappear. So that can ruin your run if you're trying to do this in one shot. I did not, just so we know, not Mega Man professional here, so definitely just I beat the bosses, and if I encountered, one of the Maverick Hunters and was able to beat them, great. But yeah, needless to say, I did not. And I ended up having to watch a YouTube video to see that you can rebuild Zero, but you also have to fight him again. So there's that. Which, great twist. Like you spend the entire game to get the pieces of Zero because you want to bring that character back, and then it's a quick flip, and it's like, oh, he was blown to pieces. He started off as your enemy. It makes sense that he once again has been rebuilt and he's your enemy. So yeah, I thought that was really good. Most of the other stuff is, the other stuff that we'll talk to as far as like graphics and music and sound effects and stuff. But as far as gameplay, I enjoyed the game. It was easy to pick up. I did like that we got a return to the mechs that you were able to use, and I thought the hover bike was fun to use as well. Yeah. So especially that one part where like Mega Man's X is literally like on the bike and he like flies towards a rocket, and like it's fantastic, like absolutely fantastic. So definitely some cool moments, and I'm trying to think if there's anything I am missing, but I don't think I am. I think that pretty much covers it as far as all that goes. Everything else is The other stuff we'll get into. If this game hadn't been made in 1994 and it was made in 2024, X2 would have been kind of a 0.5 to X1 and would have been DLC. Let's be fair. But it's 1994. It's 1994. You get small increments as far as, improvements from game to game. So, yeah.
That's a fair point. It could be DLC nowadays because it is so similar. But yeah, that's just how gaming was back then. You got a little piece of it in this one cartridge, and then another piece of it in this next cartridge, and just the iterations and such. But yeah, agreed with you guys that this game is the peak of the series for me. And it's very close between this game and X1 for me. X1 is one of my favorite Super Nintendo games, but so is this one, just by a hair. For like we mentioned earlier, because you start off with the dash, and the game doesn't expect you to. It doesn't have to compromise for you not having the dash like X1 did in its level design. And just the concepts of the levels are great. My favorite is is Wheelgator's stage, the giant moving dinosaur tank that's just going through a city. I just thought that was a really neat idea. And like Joe was talking about, the Buster upgrade is the best Buster upgrade in the series, because the two charge shots, not only does the second shot do more damage, it also ignores iframes. So even if you don't have a boss's weakness, if you have that Buster upgrade, you can kind of rip through their health just with that alone.
Yeah, I wish I had hunted down the Buster upgrade first before I proceeded throughout the game, because I think it would have been a lot easier for me. But yeah. Yeah,
and what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so the music for me, again, slight edge over X1, and X1 had some great tracks in it, but for me, the song that plays in the first two X Hunter stages, that's my favorite song in the series. Yeah, so that's another one of the reasons I feel like this game just barely edges out X1. There is the CX4 chip too, which did some neat things with the wireframe graphics. Not that that's super important. It's just kind of a bonus. Yeah,
it was nice how they integrated it into the cutscenes, and didn't need to integrate it into the gameplay and whatnot. It was that extra little bit to kind of give the game its flair. Hey, it's 1994. We're making a Mega Man game. Technology's advancing, and here's what we can do.
Yeah. I think the levels do probably look a little bit better. X himself looks identical as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Except for the part upgrades do look different, but it's just a different design.
Doom, you're right. The first two levels that you get, that music is chef's kiss. Fantastic. Sound effects are here on point, of course. Graphics are, as we discussed, very much just like X1. I agree with Greg. I think the backgrounds look a little bit crisper. And I think the Mavericks may look a bit, more detailed as well, but that could just be me wishful thinking. But yeah, the music's, I don't know. It's not like I went into this thinking it was going to be a worse game than what we had already played, 4 months ago. So, I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, getting in here. So,
yeah. Before I comment further on that, I just want to go back to the subject of the composers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I did a quick Google search. It looks like she did X1 and X2, but mainly she did the fighting game ports, the music for the fighting game ports, specifically Street Fighter, the Mega Man 2, and Mega Man 1 arcade fighting games.
Oh.
Goof Troop, Pocket Fighter, Alpha 3. My final thoughts on this game. I said in our review of X1 that game was a masterpiece, which is definitely not a term I throw around. This being more of the same, with the upgrades and everything else, I have to say that this is also a masterpiece, because we can't get any higher than that. This is a masterpiece as well. I do like this one slightly better than the first one, but much like Greg and Doom had said earlier, the difference is so minuscule that I see these as a one and the same. As I stated earlier, like 1994, if this was 2024, this would have been DLC. So obviously I can recommend it. As far as buying it, as you heard from Greg, the prices are all over the place, and even repros are kind of up there. So I don't know, emulation probably the best bet, or the Mega Man X collection, as Greg had mentioned earlier. Doom, what's your thoughts? Final thoughts. Sorry.
So, yeah, X1 was already a fantastic game, and they just took that product and polished it here. And we got what is, in my opinion, the best game of the series out of it. And it's crazy because Greg had mentioned earlier that, like, this game did not have that long of a development cycle.
Yeah.
And there's actually some things that kind of went missing because of that. I found out recently there were supposed to originally be 4 X Hunters instead of 3.
Oh, wow.
One of them was removed. And Violin was going to have he wasn't going to look the same in the second fight with him as he does in the first fight. He was going to have an alternate form like Surges and Agile do.
Okay, yep.
But they had to get rid of that too. And that's also probably part of the reason why the final stage is just Magna Centipede's stage again.
Yeah.
Because they had this idea that they were going to, after you do the boss rush, they were going to have you try to find where Sigma is in the 8 Maverick stages rather than just letting you select it from the stage select screen. But that ended up getting cut out as well, so that you select the stage and you're automatically there. So yeah, there's some stuff that didn't quite make it into the game, but it ultimately I feel like it doesn't matter that much. What they ended up providing to us was great. And yeah, like if you are a Super Nintendo fan at all and you haven't played this one, you gotta. And yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts.
Yeah. Doom, anything that you want to plug before we get out of here?
Just my YouTube channel, where I have a bunch of archives of Twitch streams that I used to do. I don't stream anymore, but the archives will hopefully be there forever unless something terrible happens to YouTube. But yeah, my Twitch channel, or my YouTube channel is the same. My name everywhere is pretty much Khodhum, and that's Khodhum. I've also got a playthrough of Rocket Knight Adventures on there, where I played on the hardest difficulty level and beat it not taking any damage whatsoever. That's my most popular video series.
Yeah, that's quite a feat right there.
And yeah, that's all I will plug.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter at JOESUX30. I also have a very public Facebook, which some of you have found, so amazing to see that. Obviously not family friendly, so I have to put that disclaimer there since we are a family friendly podcast. Thank you for joining us, Doom. I greatly appreciate your time today and talking about this.
You are welcome.
And I look forward to X3, despite that, some apprehension I've heard, and Greg's voice and yours about
Yeah,
the game.
it'll be an interesting one.
It sounds like it'll be interesting. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Nintendo controls 80% of the video market. But no matter how you play the game, or which game you play, things definitely have come a long way since Pac-Man.
Now you're playing with power. Super power.